things would not move. So we are moving together. Kwame, you asked appropriately. Let me once again also thank multimedia, especially Hitz and Joy, for the great work you are doing for the tourism sector.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yesterday I had to speak on Joy News, and you see the way Joy Multimedia has taken this tourism report and trying to dissect for people to understand.
From all angles.
Yes. I personally appreciate it and then also the tourism sector also appreciates the work that you guys have done so far. Like you asked, in 2019, the report has been in session. 2019 we had 2020 up to last year.
Yes.
What informed the tourism report since 2019? We realized that sometimes there are projects and investments that we are to undertake. And all these projects and investments, usually you need data to back your demand for financial support.
Awesome.
Do you get it? Even when the GTA is going for financial support from government, we need to back it with data. Right. And then at any point in time, you would realize that anytime we need to undertake any strategic intervention on any area in the tourism sector or the tourism value chain, we actually need data to back it. That is the main reason why we had to bring in the tourism report to be able to help us. In helping us, it is helping to be able to put Ghana on the international
map. Beautiful. So how does the GTA conduct the research for this report?
Thank you. This is a very good question. We have the Research, Monitoring and Evaluation Department, which we call RME Department of the Ghana Tourism Authority. It is headed by Dr. Spencer Doku. Yes, he's a professional. And apart from that, we also have officers within the department. Then also, we have all the 16 regions, we have our regional offices. Yes.
The GTA offices.
Ghana Tourism Authority has regional offices in all the regions. So in all these regions, we have the officers who are there, research officers are there. Yes, marketing officers are there, and PR officers are there. So in as much as that be the case, we link all their reports to the head office. And then also don't forget, the Ghana Tourism Authority cannot do any data work without the support of the Ghana Immigration Service. Don't forget that our borders, and then the airports are very key. That is why we involve the Ghana Immigration Service. And then also the Ghana Statistical Service. They are also fully involved. When it comes to our report is holistic. We make sure that all the agencies that are supposed to be involved in it, they are all virtually involved. Also, we if you look at the points of entry, one Aflao is a point of entry. That is why Elubo, Paga, and then also Kumasi Kotoka International Airport. So all these entry points are very key to making sure that we derive the necessary data. So all these are virtually something that the Ghana Tourism Authority does not relent on. We make sure that we get the right information in order to feed our reports. As we move on, we'll give you further insights.
Exactly. How much did we get from tourism in 2024?
Good. In 2024, let me pick from 2023. 2023 we had 1,148,002, so 1.14 million, and then in visitors, yes, arrivals, yes, arrivals, yes. Then also in 2024 we had 1.2, as in 1.288. 2023 was 1.148. 2024 was 1.288.
Great.
Yeah.
But in terms of receipts?
Receipts, of course, we can say that confidently we were able to make a lot of revenue for
an improvement upon 2023.
That's it. There was a big one. Let me pick 2023. 2023, we had $3.8 billion being pumped into the economy. I will explain this.
I like how you mentioned it. $1 billion.
So in 2023 we made $3.8 billion, and then in 2024 we had $4.8 billion.
1 billion
exactly
more.
Addition. 1 billion more in addition. Now, what it means, what this data means, especially when it comes to the receipts, that is the revenue that the tourism sector was able to rake in. What it means is this. When a tourist comes into the country, the tourist would use a restaurant. The tourist would use a hotel. The tourist would go to our tourist sites and attractions. So, in all the places that the tourist goes, there is an expenditure. All these expenditure is what is circulating within the economy. So, in that circulation of that expenditure, then all that putting together, we are able to arrive at $4.8 billion.
Yeah. So yesterday, I even posted on our page that I thought there was a mistake, because if you tell me that arrivals receipt is 4.8 million from about 1.2 million visitors, then it means that the entire revenue for the tourism sector should be more, because we don't only get money from arrivals, we get from other sources in the industry, right? So you were explaining, I'm getting to understand you, but I was thinking, okay, so if you tell me that just the arrivals or international visits give us 4.8 billion, is that the only parameter to quantify how much we had in the year? Are there not other places, other avenues that we got money from? But you're explaining that when they come in, all the things they spend put together give us this amount.
That's right. Okay. That's right. And there are a lot of experts, a lot of people have also said that it could be even more than that. Yes, a lot of people have said that it could be more than that. The reason being that
that is what I think too.
Yes, that's what a lot of people think. The reason being that tourism is multi-sectorial. It being multi-sectorial, don't forget, it cuts across various sectors of the economy. So you would realize that we have agri-tourism, we even have architecture tourism. Do you get it? Good. We have the creative arts sector is also part of tourism. And all that we do, look at the events and activities that takes place, the tourist sites and attractions. Look at those who sell along the streets. It's all tourism. So a lot of pundits, of course, have indicated that the numbers could even balloon and even be more. But obviously, we are looking at 2025. 2025, of course, a lot of government's flagship programs have been put in place, which, of course, is going to help to push the agenda.
Come to 25. Let's just stay at 24. So this $4.8 billion.
Yes, sir.
It is with us.
Yes, sir.
It is money that is sitting with us.
Yes, sir.
What are we going to use it for?
Good. So, let me give you this explanation. Like I said, in 2024, the average expenditure for the average length of stay of a tourist. Let's say 2024, it was 3,742.98.
So what currency are you using?
I'm using dollars.
Dollars.
So how we got the 4.8, I'm trying to get it to you.
All right.
Now, you would realize that in 2024, we had the average expenditure for a tourist is 3,742.98. Do you get it? That is for about length of stay was 13 days. Now, if you multiply the average expenditure by the number of arrivals, the arrival, which is 1.288, you are going to get $4.8 billion.
Okay.
Yes. So that's the arithmetic. So you would realize that we don't just put the figures out, but it is carefully taken notice of, carefully perused, so that we don't put anything out there for putting's sake. So like you asked, it is very important that we ensure that the right things are done, and then also we push the agenda together.
That's a good breakdown.
Yes, sir.
Very good one at that. But still, back to the question, the money that we have right now.
Yes, sir.
What are we going to use it for?
Good. So, like I said, the money is revenue generated from what the tourists spent.
Okay, I understand you. It was in 2024.
That's right.
That is what was generated. To all the sectors of the industry.
Exactly.
It is not money at hand.
That's right. Thank you.
Good.
That's it. So it is our contribution to GDP. The tourism sector's contributing to GDP, which is $4.8 billion. Which, of course, like I said, a lot of people have thought that this number should be more than that. But moving forward, we are likely to increase the numbers. So it is the fact that our contribution as in tourism in 2019 it was $3.3 billion.
Yes.
Then in 2022 it was $2.5 billion.
Good.
And then in 2023 it was $3.8 billion.
Yeah.
But in 2024 we have $4.8 billion.
That's an upward. Yeah.
That's it. So that is where we engage the Ghana Statistical Service. They are always with us. So our contribution to GDP, as in the gross domestic product,
that's it.
That's $4.8 billion.
Okay, that is lovely. And let's explain to listeners that this is not money sitting down somewhere.
That's right.
It is money that was accrued during the period. So people in the value chain, the tourism value chain, all had their revenues from this big money, which is 4.8 billion Ghana cedis. Yeah, right. Dollars, sorry.
Dollars, yeah.
Dollars, okay. If you want to convert Ghana cedis, it will be a lot more. Okay, we're here with Atta Kofi Atta Kusi Kakra, who is Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs, Ghana Tourism Authority, and we are analyzing or trying to explain the tourism report for 2024. Now, let's go to the tourist sites. Right. We've seen a list of top 10 most visited tourist sites. Does it mean these are the only figures you have for visitations to the tourist sites across the country? We only have 10 here. Do you have figures for all the others? That didn't appear here.
That's a very good question. Very, very good question. You see, when I was speaking to you, I made it clear to you that we have regional offices in all the regions.
You mentioned.
So even before we bring up the top 10, all the regions submit data from all the tourist sites.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the tourist sites, probably if you take Greater Accra region, we have our Greater Accra regional office headed by Roberta Dawson-Amoa. Okay, so Roberta, as Greater Accra regional director, would submit data from tourist sites.
All right.
Right, that tourist sites in Accra that have data.
All right.
They will submit it to the head office. So once it is submitted, then we compare with all the regions, and then we pick the top 10.
Oh.
Yes. So we have data of all the tourist sites.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can't publish all of them.
All of them.
They may be in your books.
It is in our books, yes.
But in the report, you pick the top 10.
Top 10, that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And this year, top 10, let me run through it. The first one, okay, let me start from the bottom. Number 10 is the Bree Botanical Gardens. Number 9 is the Shy Hills Resource Reserve. Number 8 is Accra Zoo. Number 7 is Elmina Castle. Number 6 is Menchia Palace. Number 5 is Cape Coast Castle. Number 4 is Kumasi Zoo. Number 3 is Bunsu Arboretum. Number 2 is the Kakum National Park. And numero uno is the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Now, let me take you to last year. I have some last year figures here as well. All right. So last year, I think it was almost the same. There was only one tourist site that changed last year, but I'll get you the last year report very soon, so we do some comparison there. But last year, Shy Hills wasn't in last year. Shy Hills wasn't in last year.
Yeah.
It was rather the museum, National Museum, that was featured last year.
That's right.
So that's only tourist site that changed within, and then even the position changed as well. I'm taking you to last year's visits. Okay. All right, still right here on Daybreak Hitz 103.9 FM. Domestic tourism is very important, so we are throwing our spotlight on that one. Last year, number 10 was Menchia Palace.
That's right.
Number 9 was the Accra Zoo. Number 8 was Bunsu Arboretum. Number 7 was Elmina Castle. Number 6 was Bree Botanical Gardens. Number 5 was the Cape Coast Castle. Number 4 was Kumasi Zoo. Number 3 was the Kakum National Park. Number 2 was the National Museum. And then number 1 was the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Right. The question is, if last year we had the National Museum at number 2, why did it not feature at all this year? What happened to it?
Good. You see, one thing is that usually you would see tourist trend, their preferences. It is always very key. And then also the number of tourists that would go to a particular tourist site is determined by what we call their interest. Of course, like I said.
Yeah.
So Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park had been at the top for a while.
Last year and this year.
And this year. Good.
Yeah.
Now, somebody would say, why were they at the top last year and then also at the top again
this year?
Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, due to its renovation, National Museum also had the same renovation within the same period. But you will be asking yourself, why didn't the National Museum still feature in the 2024 report? That's why I say that tourist interest changes.
Is it not surprising? From number 2 to 3?
To 3, yeah. It happens. The reason being that, don't forget that tourism is an immersive experience that anybody wants to have, and it depends on where they want to go. Good. What happens is that once a particular tourist site has a lot of promotion and marketing for its site, it means that it is going to have a huge number of tourists coming in. Do you get it? So usually we are very particular about how to rate them. Now, let me go back again. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, National Museum, Kakum National Park.
This is last year.
This last year. Cape Coast Castle, Ebri Botanical, Elmina, Bonso, Accra, and then Menchia Palace. Do you get it? Now, some of the tourists looking at probably sometime even proximity, do you get it?
Yeah.
You would realize that a lot of tourists might decide to go to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
Yeah.
And might not go to the National Museum. Do you get it? Because probably they feel that, they might be within the same enclave. Do you get it? So it depends on the interest of the tourist. It depends on the preference of the tourist. And then also it depends on also we have packages that the tour operators usually move with.
All right.
So we encourage various tours to always go through the tour operators. Once you have the tour operators, it helps you to be able to identify the right places to visit. And as you visit, of course, as they are visiting, don't forget the tourist decides. Sometimes they decide that we want to go here or there. Probably. What could also be the case also is that those who visited last year, right? Those who visited the National Museum last year might have thought that in 2023,
not last year,
in 2023, might have thought that, I've been to the National Museum. Do you get it? I've picked tours. Maybe a tour operator may have picked tours to the National Museum a couple of times. So he changes over to another tourist site. There is nothing wrong with that, because you want to have preferences and interest of the tourists that they are bringing. So you realize that there'll be a shift in visitation to a particular tourist site. It doesn't mean that the tourist site has dwindled. No.
Okay.
It means that there has been a shift in interest or preference, or they just want a change. Do you get it? Sometimes, let me take it in our normal setting where Kwame Dazi, you have your family. You have taken you've taken them to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park for 3 consecutive times. Another time, your little girl will be like, "Daddy, why don't you take me to the National Museum?"
But when we talk about that, then we are talking about. I'm not sure that is growth to me, because then it means that it's the same people going for the visits, but. Isn't tourism, the growth of tourism, about inviting new people to come and experience new things? For example, first timers, if you like.
That's a good question. But don't forget, the first timers would also have a list of tourist sites, and they will select.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They will select where they want to go to. So once the person selects where they want to go to, you may not have control over it, because I see a hand and person so the person goes there. Do you get it? So it means that if we have more numbers going to Kwame Nkrumah, the numbers for Kwame Nkrumah will balloon. If we have more numbers going to National Museum, the National Museum will balloon. And with that, let me say that at that point you are having a lot of tourists, of course, coming into the country. But they decide that okay, this is where we want to go to.
In the case of the National Museum, when it happens like that, a tourist size maybe the previous year was at the top, and then the following year drops. Does the GTA do any research to find out what exactly could have been the problem?
Yes. So I'm so happy with this question. We are looking at sustainability. How do we sustain our tourism growth, like you mentioned early on? So we are doing a lot of research behind the scenes. And as this report has come up, right, we are engaging the National Museum. We are engaging the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board takes care of the National Museum.
All right.
So we are engaging them behind the scenes. Now, the onus of this report is to identify the trends, opportunities, and strategic interventions. So that is exactly what we are doing. Right. So behind the scenes, you would find that we have identified certain things within the report.
All right.
You would see that the Tourism Authority is working behind the scenes to make sure that why did this happen? Why is this? Why is this that? And then also making strategic investment opportunities also in certain areas. So anytime this report comes, the GTA management sets at a round table, make sure that we peruse it appropriately, see where the loopholes are, how to sustain the growth. That is most important. Because we need to increase the numbers again.
Exactly.
From 2024 to 2025.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's it, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Kofi Atta Kusi Kakra, he is the Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs, Ghana Tourism Authority. Now, let's look at the Kumasi Zoo in this year's list, the chart.
Yes, sir.
Look at the figures for Kumasi Zoo. So it says that the figure for resident visitors is 154,192. And then for non-residents, it is 29,565. Now, if you do the math, this should give you 183,757. But in the report, it says it is 133,154. That's a big mistake. It doesn't tally. The total is lesser than even the visitors, the resident visitors. If you've checked already, if anybody has a report, you can just quickly check that one, because I saw a number of people ask questions about it. Yeah, the Kumasi Zoo.
Okay.
Yes, in the list, the top 10 most visited tourist sites in Ghana in 2024. The figures, the total is lesser than the resident visitors. So check that one for us. Right here on Daybreak, Hitz 103.9 FM. We're delving into the 2024 tourism reports, and Atta Kusi Kakra Kusi is here. He's Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority. If you have any questions, 054-884-1039. And Kaswa Simon Kawal is here. My brother Martinez, how are you?
I'm good, Kwame.
When was the last time you toured any of our facilities in Accra?
I don't remember.
You see, you are not helping us boost tourism.
If my memory serves me, I think 2005.
2005?
Yes, 2005.
Oh, bruh.
At your home.
That's
20 years.
Charlie! No, we need to encourage each other to tour. Let's keep touring. We have a lot of places around. Let's tour. Even if it's not here in Accra, you can go outside the country. There are so many tourist sites. So where did you go in 2005?
It was Sutherland Park, and then down so much tourist park. Oh, but you know they
are tourist sites.
Yeah, sites. But back there, Charlie, it was a dream for every kid to be there. And so sometimes we had to accompany the kids to go there.
Okay.
Yes.
You need to promise.
We actually went there for a program.
You need to promise us where you'll be going.
But Kwame, I agree with what you are saying. We need to boost local tourism.
We need to.
Very important. Very important because most.
Have you been to Brazilian House?
No.
You don't know there.
This is my first time.
You need to go. Even here in Accra, there are a lot of sites with cultural significance.
Yes, you see, most of the time when we talk about these things, about those coming from the diaspora.
So in our minds, we think, tourism is about the people coming in.
I think that
but there is domestic tourism.
Yes,
domestic
for some
tourism.
time now, that has been government's concern, targeting those in the diaspora.
Okay, so but I think there is a shift now. People are also now getting encouraged to tour within the country.
Yes,
and we should promote that as well. Not only those coming from outside into the country.
Exactly, because I would have been very happy breaking the figures down. At least we are able to identify that X number is those who.
No, it's there. We have domestic tourist figures in there in the report.
Oh, okay.
And then we have international visits as well. So clearly stated in the report.
The local ones are very encouraging.
It's getting better.
For me, it's
getting better.
My major concern.
I don't know if you've seen the list of the top 10 I just mentioned, but I didn't mention the figures. It's better than the previous year.
That's nice. My major concern is how government is partnering media houses like multimedia, especially let's say this particular show, to throw more light on some of these stories.
Multimedia, we go out of our ways, even without partnership, to do things that will benefit the nation. And tourism has been one of the biggest things that we've been focused on for a number of years now. Yes, so even without government partnering us, it's been one of our mandates as an institution.
That's great. Pastor, I want government to make a deliberate
you want government to partner.
I mean,
say that.
Very, very important.
Good.
That's what I'm saying.
Good. They should. Yes. They should. And especially the multimedia group has been very pivotal in all this.
You see, when it comes to multimedia, the work so far is highly commendable. You guys are doing a lot. But then government need to support. You know, if you see someone doing such amazing work, there's nothing wrong with encouraging the person. So I don't know if there's a budget allocated for that to help, this promotion, because like we are saying,
as in the media promotion, publicity,
some kind of initiative to help with, let's say, social media platforms. These content creators.
Atta will answer.
There are a lot of young guys who are doing amazing work. We need to bring all of them on board.
Rabbi! It is okay. I am his grandson. I am Anidos's grandson, so that's okay. And Robert came in with a laptop. Mr. Hagler, we're 5.
Robbie, we're banning laptop here.
Okay, so Kofi.
Yeah.
Have you seen what I was referring to before you answer the question that Martinez posed about whether you have a budget?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
a mistake, right?
There is a slight mistake here.
Yeah.
But it is not going to affect the
figures?
the ranking.
The ranking.
It's not going to affect the ranking.
Okay, but the figures.
What happened was that. Right. What happened was that check the one for Kakum National Park.
Kakum.
Check Kakum National Park.
Yes.
The one for Kakum National Park.
Yeah.
Yes. You would realize that resident is 154,192.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Non-resident is 29565.
565. Yes.
The same thing was repeated at Kumasi Zoo.
Okay.
Yes. I've just identified.
Okay. So some slight mistake.
Yes. It was. The 133 is right. Okay.
But do you have the correct figures with you right now?
I was cross-checking with my team.
With your team.
So what it is is that we have the correct figures are there, but the 133 remains as it is.
Okay.
That is the total.
The total is correct.
Yes, the total is correct as Kumasi.
But the resident or the non-resident might be wrong.
That will be taken out. The resident and non-resident will be taken out and replaced with the right figures to tally for the 133.
Okay. So how are we going to get this corrected?
Oh, it will be done. It will be done.
The report is out already.
It will be done. It will be done.
How do you put it out to the people?
That will be done. No.
How do you do that? Will you issue a statement? How do we correct this? Because this is going on record.
Yes,
forever.
Yes. We've taken notice of it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Martinez is asking if you have any budget for promotion, publicity, media, and all that.
My dear brother Martinez, just as it has always been, we have a marketing department, which of course we have budget that we budget for international and domestic marketing. So at any point in time, anytime you find the tourism authority involved with any promotional activity, it is either domestic or international, and there is budget for it.
All right.
The budget obviously beginning from the starting of the year, we start dissipating the budget, rightly as it's always been. So at any point in time, like I said, anything you find the tourism authority doing in terms of promoting and marketing, of course, there's budget for it.
All right. Okay.
Kwame, I'm not convinced with the answer.
You're not convinced?
Yes. I'm not convinced.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's like it's not visible enough for us to see.
Okay, good. Let me break it down.
Okay.
If you look at our domestic marketing campaigns that we've been running, you would realize that we have the Accra City Tour Bus. That is also part of our marketing budget. It's promotional and marketing. And then also we always make sure that we put in place packages for the tour operators. Tour operators, of course, are those who drive the tourism space, just to make sure that visitation to various tourist sites and attractions are taken into careful consideration by Ghanaians and revelers, thereby increasing domestic tourism. So I'm looking at the domestic tourism aspect first before I come to the international tourism. Aside that, also you would realize that when we are to undertake this December and GH events and activities, what we do is that we have budget that is used for various events and activities, budget that we use for some of these events that are put out there. Some of the events are owned by the tourism authority, in as much as they are private owned events, but the tourism authority at some point in time helps to support some of these events. Aside that, don't forget also that from January to December, we have a number of events and activities that we have put in place as the tourism authority. One, right from January to February, we do the Chocolate Week celebrations, which of course helps to also boost our cocoa industry, the entire cocoa value chain. So we say cocoa tourism value chain, right? So with that, there is budget for it, the Chocolate Day. And then you come to March, we have Heritage Month. There is budget that we use for the Heritage Month. And then you come down to we have Panafest Emancipation Day celebrations. That also we have budget for it. Coming down, we have September month for each. Every September is termed as the tourism month. Yeah. So we have budget. Of course, intermittently, don't forget that we have festivals that we attend. All these festivals are promotion and marketing tools that we use. Yes, they are. Because of the cultural aspect and then historical aspect of them. So all that are budgets for. And then coming down, then we come to December, where we have December in GH events and activities. Let me take you to our international marketing. International marketing, we have budget for our international fairs and exhibitions. We go for FITU in Spain. We go for Akwaba in Nigeria. We also go for what do we call it? We have WTM South Africa. We have WTM London. We have Ghana Fest, and then we have a number of fairs and exhibitions. That all these takes care of our promotional and marketing budget. So if you asked, rightly as you asked, there are a lot that we use our budget for. So like you asked, that's it.
Quick one, Kwame. Okay, I am looking at the media aspects.
Okay.
Let's say a program like Daybreak Hitz. having a segment whereby we throw a light on maybe a particular tourist site.
Yeah. And you can sponsor that.
Yes,
right.
That's what I mean.
Right. Okay.
So if today we are talking about Daybreak Botanical Gardens,
right,
or maybe this week,
right,
is for Daybreak Botanical Garden, next week for another tourist site, to help educate and boost, the local tourism. Because let's say Hitz FM like this, it has the youth glued to the programs.
Right.
So if GTA finds a way or government finds a way to tap into that, definitely it's going to be visible. I mean, television stations, when we see some documentary, some kind of education, getting influencers, celebrities on board, it will make the local tourism very, very,
I
very
agree with Martinez.
Yes, so, I agree.
So there should be a budget.
I agree with you perfectly. In the past, GTA has done this with some media houses, of course. No two ways about that. But like you have said, this is something that the authority has even discussed what we call public awareness, just to make sure that creating awareness for the public in terms of domestic and international tourism, bringing the people on board. We cannot leave the media outlets out of it. So with that, of course, it's a good suggestion, which of course the authority has even thought about it. So moving forward, obviously we would see what can be done and then put the necessary things in place, necessary measures in place.
What is on record?
Okay.
Yes, come and sponsor the show.
Before I bring in Robert, let's check some figures here. These are the figures for visitations. So I'm looking at the growth. Okay, from 2019 to 2024.
Yes, sir.
Now, the total visitations for 2019 was 669,311. 2020, it was 210,582, and that was a negative 69% growth because of COVID, right?
That's right.
Okay. In 2021,
yes, sir,
it was 588,946 with a 180% growth.
Yes, sir.
All right. Then we come to the following year, 2022, we had 945,405 with growth of 61%. We have 2023, 1,407,709, 49%. Then that's a growth, okay?
Yes, sir.
2024 is 1,681,985 this year, last year.
Yes,
that is 19%
yes,
growth. Sir. What do you say to the fact that we had 180% growth in 2021 and 19% growth in 2024? How do you explain that?
Good, thank you. I think my explanation would you would get to understand it very, very, very better. Don't forget, in 2020, you do recall COVID was up.
Yeah.
Good. Immediately after COVID, let me take it when COVID was in. What happened was that tourism shut down.
Okay.
So the world woke up to the fact that it is tourism that was driving the space.
Yeah.
Yes. That is how come the UN Secretary General issued a statement indicating that hitherto they didn't know that it was tourism that was running the show.
Yeah.
But after COVID, they realized that it was it was tourism that was running the show. So you would realize that in 2020, like you said, negative 69, but in 2021, it came up to 180% because everybody was wanting to go out somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that is how come. And it wasn't only in Ghana. Yeah, it happened all over.
All right.
Because we have checked the UN tourism report. If you check the UN tourism report, you're going to have similar cases. Yes, I want you to check specifically. You would realize that there are similar cases with 2020 and 2021.
The growth
was a big
is
one.
premised on how poorly it did the previous year.
Absolutely.
That gave it the 180%.
That's right. Absolutely.
Makes
So that is exactly what really happened within, and that COVID was an extraordinary something, very extraordinary.
Yeah.
That is how come we had the 180%. Yes, it being extraordinary, it needed an extraordinary increase. That is how come we had 180%. So Ghanaians in themselves wanted places to travel and then also be part of events and activities. What I could recall was that in 2021, we realized that in most of our events that we run, a lot of Ghanaians pulled up to the various tourist sites and attractions. And then even December in GH. December in GH had a lot of revelers coming in. Yeah, we had a lot of revelers coming in, especially domestic tourists. Domestic tourists were able to infiltrate into various tourist sites and then also various events and activities that were organized by the tourism authority. Let me equate this to the arrivals. If you look at the arrivals in 2020 was 355,108. And then in 2021 was 623,523. A steady rise. That was 75.59%.
Okay.
So if you pick it from that was international arrivals. Good. So if you look at that one was 75.59, and then the domestic tourist was 180%. It makes a lot of sense. Yes. So accounting for it was due to the fact that people needed places to visit. So they thought it wise to visit. And in visiting, we're able to get the numbers at the various tourist sites and attractions, as well as events and activities.
Okay, thank you, Kofi Atta Kakra, who is Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority. Robert Clark, the mic is yours.
Morning, Chief. All correct?
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. I know we have some conversation today.
Your laptop, should we find you some table to put it on or something?
So I just have to put it on my lap.
It's a laptop.
On top of my lap.
On top of his lap, yeah, that's it.
So I must say that I like when you give us the origin of the entire report from 2019, the purpose, why it was created and all of that. You gave deep reasons why this thing was created. And so I'm going to tap into the purpose. And then I'm looking at your documents. I must praise the fact that it allows for accountability by sector members who are stakeholders. And then the fact that in terms of even your presentation, you give a lot more graphical interpretation of information, which makes it a bit more appealing. And then there were summaries to it. However, I have some question marks, and possibly you could help me address some of these things. The first one is the let me go into specific areas so that helps.
Yes, sir.
The research that was done, and I'm speaking about research from the angle of how research is designed,
right?
Because research design comes with some plan to be able to uncover some form of information. So I'm trying to understand with this particular work, the research design, what was the purpose? What was it trying to uncover? Because and why I'm saying that is because there are several approaches, and I see a narrative and descriptive information. I'm not seeing collaborative information highlighted. I'm also not seeing normative information highlighted, and I'm also not seeing let's deal with this too. And I'm also not seeing the let's deal with this too. So just so that it helps. And the causative, I'm not seeing the causative information also being highlighted. I can break each one of them down so that it helps.
Okay.
But I'm seeing narrative to a certain extent, and I'm seeing descriptive. Narrative and descriptive. So by descriptive, you are giving us information based on what is available. Narrative means that you've used some form of local stories to be able to give us some information that gives us insights to satisfaction and why people visit the certain places they visit. But when it comes to normative, what ought to be, which is informed by your plans.
Right.
So, for example, what were the plans for 2024?
Right.
What's the variance in this particular case? We don't know. You understand what I'm saying? That's one. And then we go into the causative. What were the things that GTA engineered? What were the results? Do you understand? Things that you said, these are things I want to engineer. So we did the following interventions. in these places, 1, 2, 3, we pumped X amount of money into these specific areas. And when we did that, this is the effects that we had. So I'm trying to see how those are captured in this document, because I can't see them. So maybe they are captured, I'm not getting it. You have to help me get that. So those are the elements I'm looking to be able to see. And so maybe if you can help us go into those areas, then I have some few specifics that we'll be able to address.
So you want him to answer this before we move on?
Yes.
Are you ready with the...
Yeah, very well.
Okay.
Very well. Okay, good. Robert, like you asked, in coming out with this report, like you said, there were some KPIs that the authority put in place for 2024, right? And these KPIs, obviously, what we did was to make sure that what we decided to have done, just to make sure that we increase the numbers, were done. For example, let me give you one of them, one that has to do with the tourist sites and attractions. You do recall, coming from 2023, what we did was to be able to renovate some of the tourist sites and attractions, because the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts and the authority realized that our figures for the previous years were to some extent down due to the fact that some tourist sites were not up to standard, were not upgraded, were not renovated to a particular standard. So the ministry and the GTA had to undertake steps.
Good. So for example, this what we are discussing now is a causative. You've seen a lack, you go into it. Absolutely. And then you inject money into it or address specific needs. Right. Question is, what was the impact? Now, I'm expecting, for example, that when you tell us that some sites didn't have certain things, because of what you did, right now it's part of the top 10 ranking.
So I haven't finished my.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm just saying that just so that it's educated.
Okay. You mean it should have been in the report?
No, it should be.
It should good because good. So I'm
cover things I haven't done, because again I'm going to go into some areas about how much money was pumped into the sector, for example.
Right, Robert. This is a very good question. You know why I say this? You realize that when Kwame accosted me on the figure.
Oh, he did. He was just asking questions.
Don't worry. When
it's okay.
Don't worry. He's my
I
brother,
accosted him at a cost.
At a cost. So at a point, Kwame indicated a particular figure, right? So we have the full report is not only this book. It is a very big one.
Oh, there is another one.
No. I mean, you can't put everything. You can't put everything
in this.
Yes. So there are certain aspects of the report you can put here. Do you get it? Yes. There are some. When you are having a report, sometimes you have a composite big report, but you have certain salient information in the smaller report that
is an abridged version.
It's not an abridged version, but what I'm saying, you see, in government settings, usually in any document that probably I know you are privy to what I'm saying. You can have a full document. But you have smaller, for example.
So that's why you say by abridged, essentially.
So what I mean. Let me go to your statement. What I mean is that we were looking at this particular thing, right? So we had to inject money into the various tourist sites to be able to make sure that they are up to a particular standard. Do you get it? That is how come Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is up there. We have some parts of the report that have been stated appropriately as you wanted, right? But obviously, we in bringing up this report, obviously everybody would understand that Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is up there. Definitely because it has been given a facelift. It's been renovated.
Exactly, I understand that. Yes. But what I'm saying is that, so for example, if you take just the year before, 2 years ago, it was number one.
Yeah.
So if you give me the reason that it was the reason for what contributed to.
I think it was stated in the previous report.
Yes, it was number one, right?
Yes,
and I understand that. So I'm just saying that when we moved on 1 year after, what were the specific interventions that were done, and what have been the responses, or like what's been achievement or the performance?
Is it at the same tourist side or
for various stuff? Like you're giving a report.
Yeah.
So for people who want to be able to analyze stuff, we want to be able to analyze it from decisions that government made. And
that translated into growth or otherwise
because this document this document says what? Growth and stability. That's the thing. So it means that you are giving us a report on growth and stability.
I cited the National Museum.
Because the National Museum,
the explanation
that
renovated.
The explanation that you gave for me, it's something is missing out there. And it calls for some inquiry. You don't drop from
number two to nowhere.
0, because I'm asking myself, is it like, are you saying that they couldn't maintain what they had? Because you see, performance, it can be, I had 90%. The following year, I'll still get 90%. Okay, that's good. Or 90 points. Let me put it that way. And then, in comparison to other folks within my sector, is it that everybody outsmarted me or outperformed me? That's why I am no longer in the rankings. It would nice to know. And then, if that is the case, then we ask ourselves, how do we work around this? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So
definitely.
For a site that was also given a facelift. Around almost the same time. Okay, Kwame Nkrumah had it first before the National Museum.
Before the National Museum.
And then the previous year was number 2.
Right.
This year it is not in the top 10.
So then you ask yourself that the money that was invested in has it gone waste?
And Kofi was explaining
that
has
been invested. So you want to find out the impact of that particular investment.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
But he mentioned other factors.
Yeah, he mentioned
the personal preferences.
Those were not necessarily facts. Those
were assumptions.
Yes, the assumptions and things that he was using to.
And that's why I asked him if they do any research to ascertain the reasons.
Exactly. We do. And it would be good to know.
The monitoring changes. You monitor the changes of visitor preferences and behaviors.
Then yes, see some of these things are also good pointers. Then you get in and find out what effort did the National Museum put in for a whole year to attract new visitors, retain existing people, or be able to tap into domestic tourism to be able to get the numbers to ensure that their ranking is maintained. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So these are things. I gave that information to Kwame that the GTA management, obviously, when this report comes out, what we do is to get to the various tourist sites that the previous years and then the current years. So once we get to them, we get all answers to these things and see how to mitigate some of these things. So we don't just put out the report and that's it. No.
Okay, so you work
behind the scenes. Yes, behind the scenes.
So then what is missing is, let's get into the causative bits. If you can tell us specific areas. If it's also not captured, then it would be nice when you are coming back to rectify some of these the info with respect to the figures. You can capture some of those things in there, because you're talking about growth and stability. So I would like to know. And then for us, again, when it comes to the collaborative part, December and GH clearly is not only government, it is heavily collaborative with the private sector being responsible for the space. So it would be nice to if that's one of the key areas that brings about entertainment. And the question is, if that is leading, then what is government willing to do to be able to get more money to achieve things that we are supposed to achieve with respect to growth and stability? Because clearly it is out of your hands, it's not in your hands. Absolutely. And then I'll also be interested in finding out how much money has the government received, not the economic impact valued. The economic impact valued is the billion, the initial money.
4.8 billion.
4.8 billion that initially Kwame thought was money on hand. But we want to find out what out of this amount, what is the money on hand? Do you understand what I'm saying? What is the money? Because there are specific sites that are directly under the GTA that yields revenue. Question is, that one, how much is that?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
And let me add something to what he's saying. Let me add on to what he's saying. So the 4.8 billion that we are mentioning is international visitation, and then how much they spend. Then what happens to domestic tourism?
It's entire. What he's saying, I'm hearing it's an entire economic impact.
That's what they're saying.
$8 billion. Yeah.
Everything.
And you remember yesterday on the pitch, I was doubting if that could be the real figure.
Yeah.
But another thing we should look at, Robert, I'll bring you in.
No, Robert asked a question.
Questions. I wanted to clear the museum thing before we come back to that one.
Okay.
So I think one way we can ascertain the growth or otherwise of the tourism of the National Museum will be to compare how many people went there, toured the place this year as compared to last year. Now I have the last year figure. The last year figure is 166,884. If you can have this year's, then we can say, they've added on or not, because the ranking could be that other tourist sites performed better.
Outperformed, this is what I was saying.
Exactly. So comparing the numbers for this year and last year will give us a picture about whether they experienced growth or otherwise. Okay, that's just by the way. Now to the questions that he asked.
Yeah, Robert. Robert, your question again.
I understand.
You see, Kwame should have just
No.
So question is this: really, you have your initial 4.8 billion for economic impact. Okay, right. What is the actual receipts in terms of money on hand that is with GTA?
Good. That's the question. Good. One thing we wish to let you know is that the various tourist sites have their own managements, and monies or revenues from these tourist sites don't come to GTA.
Okay. If it doesn't come, you've already mentioned that you have 16 regional offices who are responsible for collating data.
Yes.
Are we saying that one of the elements or the items of data does not cover revenue generation?
When it comes to the revenue, right, like I mentioned early on, revenue from the various tourist sites don't come to the GTA.
That's understood.
They stay with
information
to run the enterprise.
Yeah, but for example,
the figures.
Let me give you a perfect example.
No, wait. Before that, I'm just saying, if you know the figures, you can collect.
A perfect example is
Robert,
that
let me explain.
The forts and castles are under the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. They are not under. We don't take money from there.
Okay.
No, all the monies go to the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. The Kakum National Park. All tourist sites have management bodies, and any monies that accrue to these tourist sites, those monies don't come to the GTA.
Just so we are clear, just so we are clear, I'm not talking about money coming.
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there is management of every tourist site.
Good, I understand.
If you say monies from the various
Atta Kakra. Don't worry. I'm just trying to establish some clarity so that we don't move into another area.
Okay, quickly. I
1 second, please. All I'm saying is this. Charlie, otherwise that is pointless for me. Let me.
Okay, you make your points. Let me answer. Reiterate it.
Yes, all I'm saying is this. So you've given information about Kakum National Park. All of them are here. You are using all of these elements and the visitations and its value and your GDP contribution and all of that. So you are 4.8 billion. All I'm saying is, out of these figures, just give us a breakdown of how much money came to you from the perspective of receipts, so that it is not because somebody came to Ghana and we saw the rankings. Business reason is one of the number one reasons why they came here, and so you say, okay, because they came for business reasons, they spent X amount of money, and so because of that, you have valued what it means to your GDP contribution. And I'm asking for your actual receipts, and you can't tell us that if you put Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park together, the revenue that went there, if you put Ghana Museum, the revenue that went there, Kakum, put all of these elements, because these are
Robert.
I'm coming. These are wait, because these are these are.
It's okay. Okay. It is Daybreak Hitz on Hitz 103.9 FM. We're just trying to clarify things here. Okay. Calm down. We are having a discussion on the 2024 tourism report that is out already. We're just trying to understand better how all the figures play out in the scheme of things. I'm here with Robert Clark. Martinez is here as well, and then Kofi Atta Kakra also right here with us. Adam Mensah is here. In a moment, I'll be taking Adam's submission, but that'll be after a short break. Okay, so let's take some message from Betway. They are bringing you the scratch and win, and they say it is back with a bang. They have a whopping 9 million Ghana cedis prices, ranging from cash, free spins, free flight, and more are for grabs from 1st to 31st July. Now, how do you take part? Simply log on to Betway or just bet on sports casino and you will get your daily scratch card. From there, it's just scratch, match and win, with every day being another chance to strike it lucky. Only on betway.com.ga. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly. Betway gets way more. I'll come back to you guys. Don't worry. The clock strikes noon and you start to fantasize about lunch. Yeah, it's been a busy day, so some hot watch here will be perfect. Of course, after all the talk, we need to get something to eat. Yeah, but then again, some banku and pepper and fish too wouldn't be bad. Or maybe some kenke, Mr. Hagla is owing me kenke. Yeah, or maybe some rice or stew with some fully loaded Ghanaian salad by the side. Well, whatever is for lunch, we know the perfect beverage to make your lunchtime complete. Elevate your lunchtime experience with better malts and discover richness in every sip. Crafted to perfection with the finest ingredients and fortified with vitamin C. Better malts inject our best of richness into your day. So grab a bottle of Better malts and discover the rich taste of 100% true malt today. All right, now let's come in here. Let me give Robert 2 minutes. Robert and Kusi 2 minutes to clear this thing, this whole. Atta Kusi.
Yeah.
In what ways does the GTA gets revenue?
Good. Our revenue margins, we are a government organization. So our revenue comes from government.
Okay.
In terms of, one, the money that comes from the consolidated fund to us, as in that which is approved by Parliament. Right. When it comes to the tourist sites and attractions, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park has a management on its own.
Yeah.
So they take care of their own revenue.
It's an agency.
Exactly. Yeah. Good. The forts and castles are under the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. We don't come in their revenue.
Okay.
Yes. Likewise, most of the tourist sites all over the country,
all right,
their revenue, the Tourism Authority has no say in their revenue.
It stays with them.
The LI 2393, tourist sites regulations that was passed by Parliament, only mandates the Ghana Tourism Authority,
all right,
to register and license tourism establishments. That is our mandate, to register and license these tourist sites. And also, it gives us that another strength to put together a management committee within some of the tourist sites that don't have management.
Okay.
Yes.
Where do the levies and all those monies taken from the enterprises go? And I even know we have some 1% tourism fund.
Yeah, the 1% tourism levy.
Yeah.
The 1% tourism levy is paid by a patron who patronizes a tourism enterprise. For example, my dear brother Robert Clark will go to Kempiski. I've seen him there a couple of times, you know. Yeah. You know, he'll go to Kempiski, pay as much, sleep in Kempiski. At the time of his paying, he's paying the 1% tourism levy.
Yeah.
So that levy, if he sleeps for 5,000 per night, 1% of 5,000 goes into the tourism development fund. The tourism development fund is managed by the Ghana Tourism Authority.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's another way of you getting revenue.
That's another way of us getting revenue.
So it's not as though you don't get money at all. There's money coming from government, from the fund,
from government, and then also with the World Bank, project, the World Bank project, was a grant.
Yes.
Yes. That which was used to renovate Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, Menchia Palace, and other tourist sites and attractions.
Yeah.
So that one, for instance, also is a grant. That is how come you heard about the Ghana Tourism Development Project. That one, even that one doesn't come to the GTA. There was a Ghana Tourism Development Project office put in charge of that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is how.
Okay. Quickly, Robert, then I go to Adam, please.
Okay. I'm not interested in money that comes to GTA. Yeah. I'm interested in money that is being accounted for within the tourism sector. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Tourism sector. You've given us a huge figure. My question here is this: the revenue that came through domestic tourism and international tourism with respect to Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, is it part of the figure you gave? That's from Kakum Park. Yeah. Is it part of the figure you gave? When you take your top 10, all those sites you've mentioned, whatever revenue they generated, are they part of the figure you've given with respect to the total?
The 4.8 billion.
Yes, they are part.
They feed into it.
All the figures.
Good. So if all the figures are part, what I'm asking is this: why can't we tell the difference, or why can't we break it down and say these are various institutions of government or government agencies, and this is how much they were able to generate from the overall figure?
I think I understand, Robert.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
A breakdown of how much they generated within the period. The various departments.
Good.
Maybe this tourist site had this amount of money, because as of now we only see the how do you call it, visitors, the number of people, without the amount of money generated.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah, so we just need to be clear that, okay, so this is direct revenue, because when he was asking question about the 4.8 billion and what you were going to use it for, you clearly explained it's economic impact.
Yeah. That's right.
But within that economic impact are actual revenue, like actual receipts.
Yeah.
So it would be nice for us to know that, okay, so out of the 4.8 billion, maybe 4 million or 4 billion of that came out of economic impact, which is calculated this way. But the 8 million left came in as receipts, and this is a
point well made. Point well made.
So that when we now ask the question, how much money was invested in the tourism sector, they can say they invested maybe 5 billion. Then we look at the variance.
Oh, then we had this.
Exactly. And then when we invested this is what came out. So we are in the causative. You invested this, and then you got this.
A good one there.
The man Robert Clark.
All right, let's get to Adam Mensah Chotome, who is here with us today.
We'll not allow him to respond.
He's laughing.
Hey.
Kofi,
I don't know why he's laughing.
Kofi, do you have a response for him?
Yes.
If it's not available,
quickly, please. Let's bring in Adam.
No.
Kofi,
why should we skip? Why are you laughing?
We're having a good conversation here on Tourism Report for 2024. Daybreak Hitz 103.9 FM. Adam Mensah Chotome, let's hear you. Okay, Adam is coming to talk. 2nd August, Ajibro. Let's go.
So, Bobby, you allowed him not to answer the question.
He will answer. It will be his last word.
He's still laughing. That's why I don't.
No, he's thinking about it. It will be his last word. Adam, how are you?
I'm doing well by the grace.
By
the grace of God.
Okay.
We are doing well. I think that it's quite interesting. I mean, data is important because it serves as a benchmark for you to be able to measure your progress as to whether you are making a progress or not. If you look at the report clearly, I mean, in 2024, the targets in terms of the local visits, like domestic visits to tourist sites in the country, was estimated to be about 1.5. And likely we were able to hit about...
Which year are you talking about?
That 2024. The projection for 2024 was 1.5.
Projection.
Yeah.
Good.
But we were able to hit 1.6, so like a jump of like 19%, which for me, I think it's good. When I scanned through the reports, I mean, I was getting the feeling that a lot of things are happening, but something struck me. I mean, if you take a critical look at the report, there is a certain growing area, which is the Airbnb, the private residence and others, because, I mean, the preference of people to lodge. And as a result of that, the GTA decided to run a research on the surge in people lodging in these private areas. Now, in their reports, they wanted to find out whether it was in order for certain regulation mechanism, because if a lot of people come into your country and moving to these areas, then you need to ensure certain framework there. So they try to find out how they will accept regulation of a sort. And it is striking to note that they abhor regulation. I mean, if you look at the research findings, those in that area, like majority, about 50-something%, didn't like the idea of regulation. So I want to find out. So it says host opinion on Airbnb regulation. There is an initiative from the Ghana Tourism Authority to ensure that Airbnb properties registered with the authority to align their operation with local tourism regulation. However, opinions remain divided on the issue of Airbnb regulation in Ghana. While 42% of the hosts support regulation by GTA, a slight majority of 57.14 are opposed to it. And this is my fear. You see, all the hotels, among others, are under the GTA in terms of regulation. The GTA ensures certain standard operation, among others. But if this sector is growing and people are trying to lodge in, and GTA is trying to find out how regulation mechanism will happen, and they are slightly opposed to, I want to find out what is GTA doing about it, because whatever experience people have there can affect, how they view tourism. Because if the person doesn't have a good sleep, people are not adhering to standards, among other things, he doesn't get a good psyche to visit some of your areas. So what are you going to do about this when slightly your report showed that 57.14% opposed to regulation by the GT? Right. What are you going to do?
Right. I really appreciate Adam's question. Per the Ghana Tourism Authority's regulations, LI 2239, accommodation regulations, which was passed in 2016, we are mandated by law and by government to regulate accommodation facilities.
All right.
Airbnb is a new area.
Yeah.
Now, this report brings to light what the authority is doing in terms of Airbnb. Let me give you a background. Airbnb started somewhere in San Francisco in 2008. Right, and it's metamorphosized, and it has now gotten to Ghana. And what the GT has done over the time before we starting to regulate them is that we have engaged with the management of Airbnb International. We have engaged them. I must make it categorically clear that the GTA management has engaged with Airbnb International, and they have agreed to the standards and regulations that the Ghana Tourism Authority has put in place. And these standards are expected to be adhered by all Airbnb apartments, homes, and the likes. All of them are to adhere to it. Even if you oppose it, you are expected to adhere to it. So what we are doing is that we have the Standards and Quality Assurance Department of the authority that is ensuring that all Airbnb facilities, we have actually gotten all the data from Airbnb. They have the data. Airbnb International have the data of Airbnb facilities in Ghana.
Okay.
So we've gotten the data and we are working with the data. all of them are adhering to make sure that we register them appropriately. Like the report said, 42.86% are saying that yes, they support GTA's regulation, but 57.14% are saying they oppose GTA regulation. In their opposition, it doesn't mean that GTA would not carry out its mandate.
All right.
Just as the hotels, right? We are virtually ensuring that they adhere to the standards that have been put in place for all accommodation facilities. And anyone who falters will be clamped down by the authority.
Good.
Because we would not condone any act that obviously will go to inure to the detriment of our visitors that will come. For example, per the regulations, they are expected to have a police report.
Okay.
Yes, they are supposed to have a fire report.
All right.
Environmental sanitation report. Do you get it? So all these things that we inquire from accommodation facilities like hotels, they are all supposed to do it. Even if you oppose it, we will still continue to make sure that you fall within the standards. That is why the GTA has that mandate. The mandate has been given to the Ghana Tourism Authority to ensure that any accommodation facility per the LI, we are regulating you.
Good.
Even if you oppose it.
Thank
you. I'm grateful.
Do you have anything to say?
Lastly, I mean, if you look at the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, prior to 2029, it was receiving about. Prior to 2019, it was is that 2020 too far?
Yeah. Adam, quickly,
I mean, that's my man.
My man, Defa.
Yeah, serious man.
2019,
yeah,
it was receiving just about 30,000 people. I mean, visiting there yearly. Now, prior to the renovation, it grew to over 90,000, and here we are at about 333,000. And for like 2 consecutive times, it's been leading the park. Now, if you look at the 24-hour economy document, which has the show 24, it is talking about, I mean, a certain intentional effort to use the Kwame Nkrumah story as a tourism attraction center. I mean, this tells us that there is something significant about the place, and it is why it has contributed to it having that number of people visiting there and leading. With this report,
yes, sir,
does it tell you that a lot need to be done to be able to further harness the tourism potential of the name Kwame Nkrumah?
Thank you. This is a very good question. Before I answer that, Kwame Robert Clark.
Kofi, please, you have 2 minutes maximum to do this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
before I answer, I've sent you the regulatory framework for on the Airbnb by the Ghana Tourism Authority. I've sent all it to Robert Clark, yourself, and Adam, and then your producers for you to peruse and understand what the GT has put in place. My dear brother, I think I appreciate this particular question because it dovetails into what our sister company is doing in terms of the 24-hour economy by the government.
Which company is that?
Ghana Tourism Development Company.
Okay.
Yes, we are looking to increase visitations to Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, and then also make sure that at least people get to understand what Dr. Kwame Nkrumah stood for. So the ninth tour has been designed by the Kwame Nkrumah, by the Ghana Tourism Development Company, headed by Professor Kobi Mensah.
Yeah.
And we are ensuring that in increasing, going further, to increase the numbers for domestic tourism, as in increasing these numbers of 333,000.
Okay.
We are using the ninth store to also penetrate more and increase domestic tourism, so that at least the revelers will be able to understand that not only the daytime, but in the night time, you can also visit the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park for the night store. And in doing that, of course, that will also help us to identify certain areas also that the night store could also move to. Obviously, the night store goes to various tourist sites, not only Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, but other tourist sites and attractions. And also, even within the Osu, Enclave, Oxford Street, the 9 tour goes to those areas. So, like you asked, specifically as it is, the authority and the GTDC, the Ghana Tourism Development Company, and the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Art is putting together the necessary frameworks to be able to receive the 24-hour economy and also push the agenda of government using the Black Star experience. You know, the Black Star experience is under 7 pillars.
Yes. No, we will talk about that later. It's a very broad topic. Now, let me give you 1 minute.
5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yes.
Look at the time. No, 1 minute for you to just wrap up.
A question.
A question.
Yes.
A question might elicit another long response. We don't have time for that.
Give me 1 minute to answer. Quick one.
Okay, you ask the question.
Are there new discoveries when it comes to the tourist sites?
Good.
And then,
don't worry, continue.
And then, you mentioned December and GH earlier on. Samini and GTA has been in the news. Since you are from GTA, what exactly happened?
So 2 questions. Please note them down. You wrap up everything with the answers before we go. Robert, please come in. So his question, discoveries and then Samini issue, and then Robert.
All right. So
and then there's a Robert's answer pending.
Oh, there.
Continue.
So unfortunately, I mean, there are quite a number of things that
you couldn't exhaust.
Yeah, they are still here.
You can't wait for the answer.
I'm not too sure if all of those are going to be addressed. So I don't know if I should talk about them. What I'm hopefully looking at is a situation.
Producer says we do that next week. So
that's what I'm hopefully looking for is a situation where somebody picks this document.
Yeah,
they can clearly spot opportunities and say I'm an investor.
All right.
So I've seen growth in this particular area. I have insights gathered from here, and so therefore I'm willing to invest here.
All right.
And or a document that basically you can read into it, upon which reflects the government strategy in terms of what they want to do, because the report shows what they did, what worked, what didn't work, what challenges existed, and how they are going to overcome them in subsequent years. So, for example, this year should reflect challenges that were showcased in this. And then, so that when you're reporting for 2025, you can say that these were the challenges that were posed, and therefore 2025 document covers it, and so that we can see growth, steady growth, that kind of stuff. But I can't see some of the things in there. So those are areas of interest and concern that I have. So that's it really. Those are the areas.
Okay, Atta, please do this in 1.5 minutes for me.
Let's come in
quickly. I know you can flow fast. So let's do that.
Kwame, if you look at the new discoveries, tourist sites and attractions. Of course, like I said, we have regional offices across the various regions. They have tapped into new places, which of course they are tourist sites and attractions, which of course the GTA is working assiduously with the communities.
All right.
And the district municipal assemblies. We are working on them with them.
All right.
Right. So that is being taken care of by our regional offices. And then also with the Samini issue, that is also being resolved behind the scenes. Of course, that I may not be able to say much. But
why is it behind and not before the scene? Sorry to continue.
No,
no. Continue.
We are in the same creative industry, and at any
I was pulling your legs. Continue.
We all resolve matters and then let sleeping dogs lie. And with the issue of the opportunities and investment, that you see, that is the reason why data is very important.
Okay.
So I agree with Robert Clark very well. Data helps you to be able to look out for investment opportunities. So that is why, under the leadership of our chief executive, Mrs. Mamiefa Wajeto, we've been able to put together the public-private partnership department. There's a whole department. So like he said, somebody identifies an opportunity and you can come to the GTA, discuss with us, with the team. There's a whole director in charge of PPP department.
Okay.
Come and have, yes, there's a whole director. Come and have that conversation, that discourse that pushes forward for us to look at investment into these areas.
Awesome.
And then with the 2024 tourism report, we say growth and stability. We are looking forward to increase the stability and growth of the tourism industry moving forward to 2025. Bear the Black Star experience.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget that the Black Star experience is our flagship program, and we have 7 pillars.
We'll talk about it. Thank you very much, Kofi Atta Kusi Kakra, who is Deputy Director of Corporate Affairs at the Ghana Tourism Authority. Thank you to you, Ede Mensah, Chotome, Robert Clark, and then Martinez for coming through. It's been another awesome edition of Daybreak Hitz on Hitz 103.9 FM. So you know how we do it every morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. We give you all that you need in the world of lifestyle, sports, arts, culture, and tourism. My name is Kwame Dazi, and this show was produced by Mr. Hagler, supported by Debbie Sway. We had Prince on social media and DJ Fantastic behind the music. We are back tomorrow.
Get ready for This is Hitz.